WPVI Channel 6.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Dave Frankel, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
Tuesday afternoon, the big story on Action News this noon is the Delaware Valley in the middle of a marathon winter storm.
Instead of just snow so far, the Delaware Valley is being socked with a hazardous combination of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. In fact, it's getting increasingly dangerous out there, and as a result, all Philadelphia parochial schools are letting out at this hour, and public schools will close at 12:30. Now, the icy mix has already caused a slew of accidents on area roadways. One of the worst was a 10-vehicle pileup earlier today on I-95 near the airport. Ice is also to blame for an accident on Route 70 in Cherry Hill early this morning. Folks have to deal with the ice even before getting on the roadway. The sound of ice being scraped off car windshields could be heard throughout the area.
And Dave Frankel and AccuWeather have been tracking this marathon storm since early morning. Dave, what's in store for today and tonight?
Well, Monica, we're going to walk you through this now and break it down area by area to show you exactly what's going to be happening. Right here on City Line Avenue now, we're picking up sleet, just a stinging sleet as it hits your skin here. It has let up in intensity just a bit, but it's just a break in the action. It's coming back in some form or another throughout the day and into tonight, in fact, into tomorrow. Let's start with what's going to happen this afternoon. If you are in the city of Philadelphia, mostly ice in the form of sleet, a little bit of freezing rain possible. South and east of the city, it's ice until you get right along the coast, and then it's going to be rain because of the warmer ocean water. North and west, it is snow this afternoon. Now, by tonight, it is snow in Philadelphia. The changeover takes place tonight. South and east, it is ice with just a little bit of rain, and that's right along the shore. Otherwise, everybody in parts of New Jersey and Delaware will see ice. North and west, more snow continues to pile up. Now, by tomorrow, we're all going to expect morning snow, whether you're in Philadelphia, south and east, north and west, doesn't matter, and then windy and cold later in the day. How much snow will pile up before this thing moves away? Well, in Philadelphia, AccuWeather says between 3 and 6 inches in and around the city and the immediate suburbs. You move a little further south and east, you're looking at 2 to 3 inches because there'll be more ice and rain and less snow. North and west, half a foot to a foot, and in the far northern and western areas, now we're talking about Allentown and up in parts of Berks County, out in Lancaster County, and so on, it is 1 to 1.5 feet. In parts of the Poconos, you may see 2 feet of snow out of this system because it's nothing but snow. Action radar shows us exactly where it is, and you can see we're getting it now, and there is more on the way. Here's the motion over the past 6 hours. Since about daybreak, the whole thing moving in from the west, from the south, pinching us here in the Delaware Valley and giving us that 1-2 punch. And you can see quite clearly as we break this part of it down for you that there is a layer of snow, a well-defined layer of ice, and a well-defined layer of rain. And there it is. That icy layer just cuts right through the Delaware Valley, right through the heart of us. It is a little bit of rain to the south, lots of snow to the north, and ice in the middle, and that's going to be the combination as we go through the daylight hours. By tonight, as we look at this picture, it's likely to be whiter and whiter and whiter as the snow drops down and temperatures continue to drop, especially up above us where they have been a little warmer, and that's why we're picking up this sleet. So that's the very latest from AccuWeather. Obviously, we've been watching it for quite a while. We'll continue to watch it. Come back outside to us in a couple of minutes, and we will have the 5-day forecast for you. Monica?
All right, thank you, David. And icy conditions caused 2 grinding chain reaction crashes on I-95. They tied up traffic for hours in both directions. Police say the first one started in the northbound lanes at Bartram Avenue about 6 a.m. Several cars slammed on their brakes near a tractor trailer, and you see the result. 10 vehicles came to a grinding halt. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. Moments later, in the southbound lanes, 4 more cars collided. Police shut down the highway intermittently to clear out all the wreckage. Everything was cleaned up by 9 a.m.
And the weather is causing some problems at the Philadelphia International Airport at this hour. Let's go live to Sky 6 and a look at the airport. It is open, but there are numerous delays and cancellations. There we are because of our weather and because of the storm along the northeast coast. That's the weather problems that's being taken place at the airport at this hour. Your best bet is to call your airline or the airport before heading out. Now, in the city of Philadelphia, a snow emergency is in effect. That means no parking on snow emergency routes. If you do, you will either be towed or ticketed. As you can see, the city is enforcing that emergency rule, and cars are being towed here at Broad and Reed. On the area bridges, speeds have been reduced because of icy conditions. The Walt Whitman is down to speeds of 25 to 35 miles an hour. It's 25 to 50 on the Delaware Memorial. Speed restrictions are also in effect on the New Jersey Turnpike. A trailer and motorcycle ban is in effect the entire length of the turnpike as well. There are some delays and minor detours, but so far no major problems on mass transit in the tri-state area. Well, the difference between ice and snow is the difference between living in the city and the suburbs. Action News reporter Cecily Tynan spent most of this morning with suburban residents, and she's now live in Plymouth meeting with more. Cecily.
Well, Rick, right now we still have some sleet in Plymouth Township, and the winds have really been picking up. We have a bit of a wind chill factor. Now, Center City this morning, rain and sleet, but in some parts north and west of the city, a lot of residents awakened to snow, and some of it was heavy at times. Under the glow of street lights, the flakes started flying before dawn in Montgomeryville. And by 5 this morning, a blanket of white had already covered Route 611 in Ambler.
I don't even want to think about what the winter is going to be like if it's been this bad so far.
In Roxborough, a combination of sleet and rain created a wet morning mess and dangerously icy sidewalk. In East Whiteland, Chester County, salt trucks were going full steam ahead before sunrise, preparing for the worst.
I actually thought there'd be more snow on the ground, but I understand it's going to be all ice all day, so we'll deal. Snow comes later, I guess.
In Doylestown, Bucks County, the snow came early, and by sunrise, several inches had already fallen. And for delivery drivers like John Fesack, sleet and snow can mean a long day.
Bread's got to get through. Like the post office, the bread's got to get there. People are counting on it, especially in this kind of weather. People need the bread, so.
So how are you handling the roads?
Very slowly. Just take your time and, keep plenty of space between you and everybody else on the road.
And that's certainly good advice to follow. We're looking at the Blue Route now, and there is some traffic on the road. Most of the people seem to be following that advice, taking it really slowly. Most of the main roads, of course, have been sanded, but we have right now a very thick, slushy mixture, and driving here, we did hit a lot of slippery spots, so you really want to take it very carefully. Reporting live in the Action Cam from Plymouth Meeting, I'm Cecily Tynan.
All right, thanks again, Cecily. And New Jersey certainly has had its share of trouble today. We have 2 live reports from there. First, let's go check in with New Jersey correspondent Kathy Gandolfo live in Cherry Hill. Kathy.
Well, Monica, it certainly has been a mess of a morning, but right now we have kind of an icy rain falling. In fact, every once in a while the wind kind of blows it into my face and it kind of stings. We are out on Route 38. As you can see, traffic is moving fine. The roadway is kind of slush covered, and these are the conditions we have found around this area for most of the morning. Now, we are adjacent to the Cherry Hill Mall, and I have to tell you, the traffic that is moving along 38, not a lot of it is turning into the mall. The mall parking lots are not very crowded, but with 6 days and counting until Christmas, the shopping has to get done, despite these annoying weather interruptions from Mother Nature.
Most people are probably staying home for the storm, anticipating the storm, right?
Bad news for retailers, good news for you.
Right.
All morning long, we've been out and about as the precipitation kept bordering between rain and sleet. The worst hour of the day seemed to be between 7 and 8 when icy conditions contributed to several accidents. Over in Gibbsboro, about 100 residential and business customers are without water thanks to the break of a 12-inch main, causing a partial collapse of the street at Haddonfield Berlin Road and Gibbsboro Clementon Road. It also made for some anxious moments for one driver, according to this witness.
There was a car that came through and went in the hole, and they had to tow the car out and take care of everything.
The lady that was in that car was just a little bit concerned and upset. Now, there are some detours in effect in that area around that water main break. Just one more inconvenience and annoyance for motorists today. That's the way it is. A messy day. We're keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't get a lot worse, but I guess that's probably not going to be the case. Reporting live on the Action Cam from Cherry Hill, I'm Kathy Gandolfo.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Now let's check the situation a little further north around Trenton with Nora Mushanek. Nora.
Monica, we have also got sleet right here in the capital city. It's been snowing or sleeting or both at times since very early this morning. Thousands, tens of thousands of state workers are still on the job, though. They were hoping for a snow day, but the bad weather didn't come early enough.
It's incredible.
When I woke up this morning, it wasn't even snowing. Now look at it. It's just amazing.
It looked like a winter wonderland in Trenton this morning, but the combination of sleet and snow made the morning commute seem more like a nightmare. How are the roads? How was the driving?
Pretty bad. Everybody's going about 20 miles an hour.
Can't go much faster?
No.
Major roadways like Route 1 are open and passable, but it was a different story on the side streets, many of which haven't been plowed yet and are still snow-covered. Many kids are off from school, and the ones who aren't sledding or snowboarding have plans to do other things.
Shovel snow.
All day long?
Uh-huh.
How much you hope to make?
Like $50, $60.
Commuters bundled up against the weather, waiting for buses that were running just a little late. It seemed as if the snow scared a lot of people away from the Trenton train station, which seemed to have a slower than normal rush hour.
Yeah, when I got up this morning, there wasn't, it had started to snow, but there wasn't a lot of snow on the grounds, although I knew the predictions were bad. So I figured I better try to get down here.
The state has about 400 plows and spreaders on the roads. Traffic is moving slowly, and while we all try to cope with this huge storm, a visitor from another country wondered why we get so worked up about the weather.
We get this in England, but we just carry on as normal. We don't know what all the fuss is about.
Come on now, you can't blame us for getting excited about what could be up to a foot of snow in some spots, can you? It's bad now, it's going to get worse. If you don't have to be outside, the wind chill is acting up. It's a lot colder than it was earlier this morning. Stay inside. I'm Nora Mushanek reporting live on the Action Cam from Trenton, New Jersey.
All right, Nora, good advice. Thank you. Well, the state of Delaware got off with a little less difficulty this morning. There wasn't any snow, but a mixture of freezing rain and sleet, and it did make drivers take extra caution. However, a full contingent of road crews are on alert to keep the highways salted, and the state is geared up for more icy conditions tonight. Folks at the Jersey Shore may miss the ice, but not the storm. In fact, a coastal flood watch remains in effect for most of the coast. This was a scene early this morning along the boardwalk in Ocean City. Officials here are keeping a close watch out for beach erosion as the winds begin to pick up and the surf is expected to rise as we approach this evening's high tide just before. Now, AccuWeather says this could be a full-fledged nor'easter before it's done, and that, of course, could mean some property damage. And in Harrisburg, there's been more snow here today. About 3 to 4 inches have fallen, with predictions of 8 to 16 inches before it's over. Drivers and pedestrians had some difficulty getting around today, and schools in the Harrisburg area have been closed for much of the day.
And the Big Apple could become the snowy apple. New York City is expecting up to a foot of snow today. 1,000 city plows are ready. Enough plows, but maybe not enough money. New York could spend $4 million just today. That is a third of this year's budget for snow. And it will be the first white Christmas in New York if they get all that snow since 1983.
And that is our coverage of this major winter storm for now. Of course, Dave Frankel will be back with the AccuWeather forecast in just a few moments. And this program notes, Dave Roberts and AccuWeather will have hourly updates throughout the afternoon on the storm, beginning at 2 o'clock, with complete coverage continuing on Action News at 5 and 6.
In other news...
Elmira back over towards the Niagara frontier. But then a little bit farther towards the south, we start to see the freezing rain. It's been a big problem from Pittsburgh through Philly on into around Baltimore, Maryland. Now reports of some freezing rain and sleet and some freezing rain too around Wilmington, Delaware. So be really careful. More ice and more snow expected throughout the brunt of the afternoon. That evening rush hour very dangerous throughout the Northeast. Besides that, we've got some wintry weather too throughout the Ohio Valley. Snowing very hard from St. Louis through Indianapolis. Quite a bit of snowfall too on into Dayton, Ohio. Spotty rain so farther towards the south. Even a few sprinkles too as we head over towards California. Some rain showers right now right around Catalina Island.
How fast do you think we could sell our home?
What if we find a great house before we sell ours? These answers and more are here.
Philly, persistent freezing rain for most of the morning hours, so the roadways are turning into a sheet of ice. Be really cautious this afternoon. Farther towards the south, those showers and storms, and we've had some very heavy amounts of rain the last couple of days. Hard hit yesterday, Texas and Louisiana. Some locales looking at close to 9 or 10 inches worth of rain. Heavy rains too around Mobile and around New Orleans, so it's been very wet and very sloppy. And then our storm system continues to ride towards the northeast. More locally heavy rain's a possibility this afternoon from the Carolinas through Georgia and southward on into Florida. On the backside of our storm, though, we've been seeing the snow really piling up. From Oklahoma City and southwestern Kansas, and a large band of heavier snows, too, from Indiana and back to the upper Ohio Valley. Some locales already have picked up 6 to 8 inches of snow. We'll see more snow piling up on top of that. Specifically, though, Amherst, Ohio, 8 inches of snow. St. Louis, 4 inches. New Hope, Pennsylvania, 4 inches. So a lot of you folks may be hoping and wishing for a white Christmas, and it sincerely looks as if your dreams and wishes will be coming true as we have this big pre-Christmas storm system that's coming in across the northeast. Providence, Hartford, even you folks around Boston will get hammered by heavy, heavy snowfall, maybe pushing close to a foot or more of snowfall by the wee hours tomorrow morning. So a major snow event throughout the northeast. Well, let's check out the forecast now in greater detail. And this edition of your Good Afternoon forecast is sponsored by the Publishers Clearinghouse. Here's our weather map for later on today. And again, we have this double-barreled area of low pressure with the main low forming off the Carolina coast and then riding northward across the mid-Atlantic states and then northward into New England. And unfortunately, it looks as if this storm system may sit and kind of fester across the northeast for the next couple of days. So we may be talking about a prolonged period of wind-driven snows throughout the area. So a very nasty time for traveling across New England and across the Hudson Valley and down towards the mid-Atlantic. Luckily, though, the storm system will be clearing the southeast, and by tomorrow, high pressure starts to build in across the Dixie states. So sunshine returns in full force from Memphis through Atlanta, looking much better, too, around Florida. But unfortunately, this high will also be ushering in some very cool weather as the clockwise flow winds around that high, driving in some northerly breezes. So we've got some of the coldest air yet this season coming in across the southeast the next couple of days. The west, in contrast, very quiet. A little upper level disturbance may spawn a little bit of snow, maybe some spotty rains around the Four Corners area. And another little weak disturbance will kind of give the northwest a glancing blow. We might see some sprinkles around the Puget Sound, maybe some snow showers for the Cascades, but heavy snows from around Allentown on into Scranton, Pennsylvania, New York City, Hartford, and Boston, all in the act now to see some very heavy snows throughout the course of the afternoon. Stay tuned. We'll check out those travel trouble spots coming up in a moment.
January 20th.
Very dangerous and very hazardous. We're seeing this big surge of moisture coming in, and because temperatures are cold enough, most of this is frozen precipitation. Still is snow coming down around the Niagara frontier, snowy weather through Elmira and Ithaca. It's snowing right now for New York City, Hartford, and Boston. And although the snow may be rather light right now, it's really going to be picking up in intensity throughout the afternoon with heavy snow warnings out now right now for Boston and for New York City. Meanwhile, freezing rain from Philly through Wilmington, Delaware. More freezing rain, too, for Pittsburgh on into Wheeling, West Virginia. So a very nasty time for traveling throughout the Northeast. Back to our weather maps we go. And as we check out the weathers for today, again, lots of...